Hi guys, I welcome you all to my channel Annie's Math and Science. The purpose of this channel is to help the kids with free education or free help for math and science. In this video, I'm teaching you to learn the basic tools of algebra. I hope this video will help you to understand the basic tools of algebra, which is real numbers. The basic thing in the algebra is you have to learn about real numbers. What are real numbers? Real numbers include all the numbers, including natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, and irrational numbers. It's actually a package of all the numbers together. Okay. So we are going to learn in this video about the type of numbers and their properties. In this slide, we are seeing a Venn diagram which contains all the numbers inside. Okay, natural numbers are inside whole numbers and natural numbers are inside integers, and integers, whole numbers and natural numbers are inside rational numbers, and natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational numbers, and also irrational numbers all together make real numbers. So this is what this Venn diagram means. In this slide, we can see the type of numbers. Natural numbers. Natural numbers means it's from 1 to positive infinity. So that is actually natural numbers. So from the numbers 1 to positive infinity is a natural number. Whole number means it includes the zero also. Okay, so whole numbers includes the zero. So 0 to positive infinity is whole number. And integers means all negative and positive numbers from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, so it starts from negative infinity and until 0, and again 0 to positive infinity also. So all the positive and negative whole numbers are actually integers. Next thing is like rational numbers. Rational numbers includes decimals, terminating decimals, repeating decimals, positive and negative fractions, all the integers. Okay, so in this case decimals means, like rational numbers means it makes a quotient. Okay, something over something is actually a rational number. So basically the definition of rational numbers is actually it has a quotient. And terminating decimals means, okay, when you are dividing when you are converting a fraction into decimals, like if the decimal after the numbers after the decimal point is actually terminating, then you can consider it as rational number. And also repeating decimals also okay, but it must be in a same pattern. Okay, if the pattern is same, then we can say it as rational number. And also negative and positive fractions, which means minus 3 over 7 and plus 3 over 7, like that. And also all the integers I already taught you, integers means all the positive and negative whole numbers are actually integers. Okay. The last kind of number is irrational number. Irrational number is actually the numbers cannot be written as quotients, or their decimal representation neither terminate nor repeat. Okay, so it will not get terminated, and also the same pattern will not repeat. If a positive rational number is not a perfect square, such as 36 or 25 over 9, or another example I can say, like 4 over 9 or something like that, then its square root is irrational, because it will be repeating, or repeating in a not in the same pattern but in a different pattern. See, the number is actually 1.022022200, like that. There is no pattern in here. So these numbers are actually considered as irrational numbers. So irrational numbers means numbers that cannot be written as quotients of integers. Their decimal representation neither terminate nor repeat. If a positive rational number is not a perfect square, such as 36 or 25 over 49, then its square root is irrational. The next thing is we are going to see about number line. What is number line? Number line is a line on which numbers are marked at intervals used to illustrate such certain numerical operations. Okay, so it could be the numbers which is illustrated in the number line could be decimal or fraction or whole numbers, or like whole numbers means you can say positive or negative integers. So the left hand side of the numbers are negative numbers, negative integers, or negative decimal numbers, or negative fractions, and right side of 0 could be positive integers, positive fractions, or positive decimals. Okay, now it's time for you to learn about the properties of real numbers. First, we can see about the inverses. Okay, there are two types of inverses. One is additive inverse, the other one is multiplicative inverse. Additive inverse means if a number is minus 3, then the additive inverse of minus 3 will be 3, which means the opposite sign. If it is plus, the answer will be negative. If it is negative, the answer will be positive. So this is how you can find the additive inverse of a certain number. Okay, so the sum of their opposites must be equal to 0, which means minus 2 plus 2 is equal to 0. The multiplicative inverse of any non-zero number which cannot be 0. Okay, a must not be equal to 0, because when you are writing it as 1 over a, if the value of a is actually 0, then 1 over 0 is undefined. So you cannot take the value of a as 0. Okay, so the multiplicative inverse of any number, any non-zero number, a is 1 over a. You just have to write the reciprocal of that number. The sign doesn't matter. Okay, if it is minus 2 over 3, the reciprocal of minus 2 over 3 is also minus 3 over 2. So the sign will not change for multiplicative inverse. Just you have to flip the numbers. Okay, you have to write the reciprocal of the numbers. Okay, so now in this slide we are going to learn more about properties of real numbers. There are some more properties like closure property, commutative property, associative property, identity property, inverse property, and distributive property. Okay, closure property for addition means if you are adding two numbers, you will get a real number. So if, for example, 3 plus 5 is equal to 8, okay, that is actually closure property. When you are using closure property of multiplication, when you are multiplying two numbers, the answer will also be a real number. That is closure property of multiplication. Commutative means it's very simple. When you see the properties, you don't get confused. Don't feel like, okay, a plus b is equal to b plus a, you have to memorize. No need. You just have to memorize, like, how you have to, you must know how to differentiate them. Commutative property means you are just flipping the, like, switching the letters. A plus b is equal to b plus a. AB equals ba. So you are just switching the places of the numbers. Okay, that is commutative. Associative, if you have bracket for first two numbers, then the second side also, like for example a plus b plus c, so the bracket is for a plus b. So when you are writing the right hand side, you can write a plus b plus c, but you have to put the brackets only for b plus c. Okay, so you just have to change the bracket. So if for the left hand side first two numbers are inside the bracket, means for right hand side the second two numbers will be inside the bracket. Okay, for multiplication also the same pattern will be followed. AB times c is equal to a times bc, like that. So AB in the left hand side, AB is inside the bracket, and then in the right hand side the bracket is actually switched to B and C. Okay, that is, so from this one itself you can understand this is associative. So if the brackets are like shifted, then you can say that is associative. Identity property of addition means, identity means whatever you do with that number, the answer must be the same number, which means for addition, if you are adding 1, the answer must not be the same number, right? See, for example, like 7 plus 0 is equal to 7. At the same time, 0 plus 7 is also 7. But if you are adding 1, so 7 plus 1 is equal to 8. You are not getting the same number. So you have to add 0. Whenever you are adding 0 with any number, the same number will be the answer. But for multiplication, you cannot use 0. If you are using 0 like 8 times 0 or 2 times 0 is equal to 0 only. You will not get the same number. So in this case, you have to multiply by 1. So 2 times 1 is equal to 2. 1 times 2 is also equal to 2. So either 1 is in the front or in the back, you will get the same number. So this is actually identity. Identity property means whatever you do, you must get the same number as answer. Okay, for addition you have to use 0 and multiplication you have to use 1. This is the only difference between them. Okay. Now inverse, already we have learned from in the previous slide about inverse, but in this case I am actually restating it again. A plus minus a is equal to 0, because in the property, in the inverse property before in the previous slide, we already saw the sum of opposite is equal to 0. So sum of opposite means a is positive and minus a is negative. So they are additive inverses, right? So when you are adding them, that is equal to 0. And multiplicative inverse means reciprocal of that number, and that number must be, when you multiply, that must be equal to 1. So in this case, like 2 times 1 over 2 is equal to 1. Okay, so the value of a must not be equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, then the whole thing will become undefined. So you cannot use 0 in this case. The next property is distributive. Distributive is actually a times b plus c. So one number is actually outside, that is multiplied by a sum of two numbers. Okay, so in this case you can distribute the first number inside like with numbers whatever, even if it is 2 term or 3 terms inside the bracket, you have to multiply with each and every number inside the bracket. So a times b plus a times c will be the answer. Okay, you have to multiply a with b and also c. In this place, if you have instead of plus you have minus, you can write it as a times b minus a times c. So this thing will be you in the whole algebra, like until the end you have to use this distributive property. So it's very important. The above properties are also will be helpful when you are solving some linear equations and some other equations. When you are factorizing and things like that, you have to use these properties. So it's very important. So you have to understand and do it. It's not memorization, you just have to understand it. Here are some examples for the properties. See, the first one is like 6 plus minus 6 is equal to 0, right? So sum of the additive inverse is equal to 0, so which is inverse property of addition. And the next one is minus 4 times 1. Whenever you are multiplying with 1, that is identity property of multiplication, right? So minus 4 times 1, which is equal to minus 4, right? So minus 4 times 1 minus 2 is equal to minus 4 minus 2. So in this case, inside the bracket is actually removed. Inside the bracket you have minus 4 times 1, and that is equal to minus 4. So that is the identity property of multiplication. The next one is minus 5 plus 2 plus minus 3, that is equal to minus 5 plus 2 plus minus 3. So in this case, the bracket in the left hand side, the bracket is for 2 and minus 3, and that bracket is shifted to minus 5 and 2 in the right hand side. So this is, so I have already taught you, like if the brackets are shifted, then it is associative property of addition. Yeah. And the next one is 2 times 3 plus 5. This is actually distributive property, because in the right hand side you can see 2 is multiplied by 3 plus 2 is multiplied by 5. So this is actually a distributive property. 2 is multiplied with each and every number inside the bracket. So this is actually called distributive property. It doesn't mean like there will be only 2 numbers inside the bracket. It could be 3 numbers or 4 numbers, whatever. If one number is actually outside and the other numbers are inside the bracket, which is separated by plus and minus, then you can use this distributive property to solve those kind of problems. Okay. And then the next one is commutative property. Commutative property, already I have told you that you just have to switch the places. 5 times minus 7 is equal to minus 7 times 5. So you have just to switch the places both sides, and so it is called commutative property. Okay, this is how you can find out or identify what kind of property is. Now we are coming to a main part, which is absolute value. Absolute value means just how far a number is from 0. Either it could be positive side or negative side. How far a number is from 0. That is actually called absolute value. It can be written as, see, this is the absolute bar. Like inside the absolute bars, you have written minus 5. So whatever inside, either positive or negative, inside the absolute bar will be positive only. So the absolute value of minus 5 is actually 5 only. Absolute value of 7 is 7 only. Okay, so there will be no, the absolute value of a particular number is not negative. It's always positive. Okay, so you can see in the number line 6 is actually from 0 to minus 6. Okay, I can say this is minus 6, but when you are writing inside the absolute bars, and the absolute value of minus 6 is positive, so you can say how far the 6 is from 0, how far a number is from 0. This is actually called absolute value. Some examples are given here. The absolute value of minus 6 is 6. The absolute value of 3 is 3. Again, the absolute value of 0 is 0, because 0 is neither positive nor negative. Okay, so it has no sign at all. So the absolute value of 0 is 0 only. The absolute value of minus 156 is 156. Guys, I hope you understand this section. Thanks for watching my video. Yes, another request is there for you. Please subscribe my channel and click the bell button next to it.